Good evening.
Good evening.
So many ways to start this video. Let's get this out of the way. In the forest of the night. Is that a song?
No.
What's that song?
That's in the middle of the night.
Oh, same difference.
In the middle of the night.
Okay, next way to start this video. Da 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 Peppa Pig. Now,
She's so annoying.
utterly delighted to finally have achieved the Peppa Pig and Doctor Who crossover that we've been waiting for all this time, with one of the child actors being one of the voices of Peppa Pig. Absolutely fantastic. More of that, please, in Doctor Who forever and ever and ever. I hated this episode last time round. I really did. I remember this being this in my mind has been the sort of the epicenter of my ambivalence towards this series of Doctor Who. And we looked at the date before we watched it to try and centre ourselves to where we were back then. Humphrey must have been a handful of months old. He didn't sleep very well. It wasn't too difficult a childhood from that regard, but, you know...
In comparison.
But it was a tumultuous time because children obviously are. And this is a somewhat unusual...
When he would have just started school.
Oh, there we go. It was chaos. This is a somewhat unusual Doctor Who story because it doesn't have a threat. It doesn't have a focal point for the bad things that happen. It could well be seen as just to sort of meander about with a problem probably somewhere.
Yeah, but isn't it the Earth is at risk? That's
Yeah,
what they think.
but it's a little bit nebulous. To visualise that is
You can't have the sun as a baddie, can you?
precisely, and I just think that in actual fact, what you've got here is a sort of parable, is a sort of fable in a peculiar sort of way, and perhaps the first time round, as is becoming increasingly evident, I just didn't get it. I just didn't get that, and I think that maybe because I am the most annoying person in the world. And the fact that it was written by Frank Cottrell Boyce, who's a great children's author, probably put my teeth in edge in a bit. Now, that's ridiculous because writers for children, or writers who are capable of writing for children, that is the phrase I want, are exceptionally talented people. It's all very well writing 800-page, wordy, pretentious novels, but you try and write for kids and try and make that work, there is a challenge for you. And I have come to appreciate that over the years. Was I working at my job? Yes, I must have been, yes. So the more I've been working with young people, the more I value good children's authors. So there we go. So Frank Cottrell Boyce, I think, has done a fine job here. I found this an elegant and beautiful fairy story.
So funny.
I did, and I thought it was so... delightful. It scores big points for having the Doctor interacting with children. I'm absolutely convinced that every Doctor should have a story in which they have prolonged periods of time talking to kids because it highlights what is the essential doctorishness of each of those Doctors, and Capaldi's grumpiness with Maeve and Maeve's sort of just wide-eyed lovely innocence, and the way that works is absolutely joyous. Yes, and this is where perhaps I've struggled with this story. The premise is absolutely ludicrous, but it's Doctor Who, for crying out loud. If there's one program in the whole wide, I don't have a problem with the moon being an egg that then hatches a creature that then lays an egg bigger than the creature. Do you know what I mean? That I'm fine with that. So.
Suspend your belief.
Yeah, exactly. Why on earth should I have got sniffy about this the first time round? I just don't understand.
What is it about it that you think is impossible?
Oh, the whole forest growing up. It's just the fact that then, we just forget about it. No, we don't. That doesn't happen.
Well, there didn't seem to be very much chaos happening.
No, but that's fine. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's fair.
That girl's mom.
And I think it's that perhaps it's that sense of unreality that just forces me...
Trafalgar Square just happened to be empty.
Precisely. And then who do you see from the authorities? Well, the random dudes with the flamethrowers. Yeah, there's a real...
And why would you try and burn them?
Because it's a fable. Because this is a
Stupid idea.
this is a story written from an author who is very, very skilled at writing for the perspective of children, and this is a story told for the perspective of children, like men in suits, the authority figures, forests springing up, and mums and kids trying to be reunited, gangs of kids, and a wolf being chased off by a tiger. Yeah, this is a children's story, and
was that the tiger who came for tea?
well, precisely. But I've got Doctor Who functions as a children's story. Not always. We are going to see an episode very, very soon where it really struggles, I think, to be called that, but we will worry about that when we get to it. But certainly the sniffy sci-fi fan, and I will be the sniffy sci-fi fan now and again, let's be perfectly frank, can turn your nose up at that. But my gosh, I think there's so much here. I didn't talk to my kids, about what they felt about this story, but I think there's and innocence sounds patronising, and I don't mean in it. There's a purity of perspective, I think. I read a lot of books for people, designed for people younger than myself. And one of the defining characteristics of books written for people younger than myself is not simplicity, by no stretch of imagination, but there's almost a purity of focus, because kids are able to do that. Yes, in this day and age, well, in any day and age, you have that wappy, Humphrey does it all the time, from this to this. But if you're in the middle of a narrative, even if it's a narrative of your own life, and you are focused on something, it is the only thing that matters. And this story, unlike many of the Doctor Who stories, eschews all that looking outside of the bubble of the story. There are trees, just accept it. And there's a class that gets lost. Yeah, just deal with that. And there's a mom. Well, of course there's a mom. There's bound to be a mom. Yeah, but it's representative of it, isn't it? Of all the moms. And then there's the grown-ups that don't understand, represented by faceless people with flamethrowers. That is a very, very understandable parable type story for children, and there is nothing wrong with that. And my appreciation of this story has gone from 0 to, you pick a number, because I just so enjoyed it. I loved Capaldi's performance. I thought Jenna Coleman was great. I thought Danny Pink, and I still don't know his name, the actor, which is wrong, his best performance so far in the series.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, don't get at him. Why don't you like him?
You say his best performance. There was no performance.
Oh, he was great.
It's just exactly the same as sort of Dusty thinks of it. Just exactly the same as every other time we've seen him.
But
his range is minimal.
But
he's boring.
I disagree.
And I don't believe that the character of Clara would have any interest in someone who is so freaking dull.
I don't think he's dull. He's kind. He's kind, and he focuses on the things that are in front of him that are important. I don't think that's a bad trait. Fine. All right. We can agree to differ on that one, clearly. But I've really enjoyed this story tonight. Really fantastic. A nice, just an oasis of, not calm, that's not the right word, but purity of focus. And I think that's a really valuable thing. Once again, Doctor Who can do stories that you can't do anywhere else. You can swing from one thing to another, story by story. And I genuinely thought this was a charming story that I reckon you could show this to a bunch of kids who never heard about Doctor Who and they would get on board straight away. There's the wizard dude in his box. There's the teachers pottering about. I think they'd get that straight away, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anything else to say? Did you enjoy it overall?
Overall, I enjoyed it, but I think you have skirted over the issue of a child with PTSD because they're a missing sibling being medicated, and then her sister turning up at the end.
I hated the sister turning up. Right, okay, you've ruined this.
Sorry. No, I didn't ruin it.
You've ruined it.
How dare
we were going to get to the end of this without any critique. Why have the big sister come back at the end? Because what annoys me about that
is everything. So she's been hiding in the book.
It so made me cross, because I want... you see, I'm just angry now. So listen, no, we had to get this out of the way, and I meant to say it, and now you're absolutely right to bring it up.
But there's something I like about it.
Go on then. I'm still going to have to rant about the sister. Go on.
Well, I was just going to tell you how annoying I found Clara, actually.
Oh, Clara's lovely. So, right. I am really... It is an absolute black mark on the episode, having the big sister come back at the end. And the reason for that is that it's too tidy. And if we're going to take all the trees away at the end, it's almost like and we're back in the real world moment. I'm absolutely cool with that. I think that is an appropriate thing to do at the end of this story. It's almost like a bit of a reset. We've had this step sideways or whatever. And I think Doctor Who, when it embraces how life can be messy and complicated, and yet we as these fallible, fragile creatures meander our ways through the complexities of life, I think that is a much stronger message to give to the viewing public than just having this little bow at the end and the sister turns up. It did really annoy me, actually. And the other thing that annoyed me, God, what a turnaround. Why have that camera shot of the big sister that genuinely looked like she was about to rip the face off the little girl? It was really sinister. I'm hiding in a bush, now I'm not in a bush, and now I'm going to kill you. It genuinely looked like that. In fact, if this had led into... Well, I'm going to say if this had led into a big cliffhanger where the mom had got... No, let's not go there. But my point is, it was just really... it was a real misstep. I'm really quite annoyed about it because...
This will be written.
Well, I think... you see... No, don't feel bad, because I just think that Doctor Who is... There's like a stable midpoint for Doctor Who, right? There's a point by which the stories can stretch out and go out, but there's always a sort of tonal heart of it. And I just think that the sister coming back at the end, and it was nothing to do with the story, it was completely unasked for. Maeve had managed to demonstrate that you can have mental health problems or PTSD. Those things are to be navigated through, but also they're... I'm going to use a very awkward word, not opportunities, and I hate this, there's my superpowers and this, that and the other. But the simple fact is we should embrace the fact that people have different perspectives on the world, and that is a very beautiful thing, and there's a lot to get out of that. But then just to have it all tied, look, and I'm going to be better again. No, you're not. You're a really traumatised little girl, but that is something that is going to form the core of who you are, and with the proper help and care and love and compassion, you're going to be the most amazing human being in the world doing amazing things. Your sister doesn't have to come back to make that out. Why have you done this? Really like this story. It was really good. Anything else?
Done.
Bye-bye.